Previous segment we discussed about equilibrium of a single body under the influence of many forces and many couples, and we saw various types of situations which may arise under different scenarios. Now this segment we will move ahead and we will talk about what happens when multiple bodies are connected to each other through various links, and then still they are in equilibrium under the influence of many forces. Just for an example, very simple, suppose I draw something like this. Suppose we connect so two bars like that, okay, and that's it. So or say let me draw this okay, and now suppose this point here I will so perhaps simply I will put it here, no props. I'll stop it here. Okay. And now I am applying some forces, say here. Right. Now this is a simple, perhaps the simplest possible system where two bodies are connected. Now whether there are two bodies, there are three bodies, so that actually is a point of discussion, and then we will proceed further. Now here if I say, so this is say body 1, I will call body 1, this is body 2, but then what about these two? Now the way I have drawn, I have made that both of them belong to the ground. So we can just say that it's, so ground G, and this is also ground G. Now if we consider ground also to be one of the bodies, then there are three bodies in all, and if we don't consider ground to be a body, it's up to you how you try to write the further equations. Okay, generally it is not necessary to consider the ground to be a body, but yeah, so if you don't consider ground to be a body, so there are two bodies which are connected with each other here by a pin joint, okay, just like a which is flexible, and then these two bodies, the green bodies, are free to rotate about this point of connection. But then as a whole the body cannot move actually. Okay. Now in a way, see, the thing is it will be I mean, what do I say, if I remove this joint, definitely they can move, because this point is fixed here. So this triangular section is behaving like a rigid one. So there will be no relative motion between this and this bars. So then under such conditions, and then precisely these types of conditions only or situations will be, our discussion will happen actually around these kind of problems. Okay. So that means they are like a structure. Now when such things happen, so our job will be to investigate whether this joint, what is the force acting here, means force on the ground maybe. So what is this? Similarly, what force is coming on B2? So force on B2. So these are the type of question which we try to answer in these multiple or equilibrium of connected body forces. Now if I apply force F, what are the ground reactions, will there be any movement. For example, another simple drawing if I make, suppose I have a because I told about movement, so this thing, because here we will discuss about them in great details, why and why not moments will be there at a particular condition, but just from intuition here we can say something like this. Now suppose this is a beam and here you put a roller, and then you have say another beam like that. This is just a hypothetical situation, maybe it can, okay, and then I apply forces. So here I apply force. Then what happens? Now whether this ground, so let me again say, so this is ground, a single body, but this beam is say body 1, this is body 2, and what about this? This is a sort of say a roller sitting, or a cylindrical block maybe you can think of, so that is just sitting there to connect these two bodies. So the force that comes from this, see this beam will try to bend, and then that force, when it tries to bend, that force will be transmitted through this roller or the cylinder to this block. Now under such conditions, so what type of forces gets transmitted through what type of joints? So here this can be considered to be a body, or you think that, oh no, this is just a connector and I will just replace that by the force that it transmits, but I will not consider that as a separate body. So many such things can happen, because for example, in some suppose you come here, in this case this joint could be actually a small bearing. Now the bearing itself contains so many elements, n number of elements, but then for simplicity or depending on the requirement, we may not even consider those smaller elements inside the ball bearing to be objects. For us it is just a pin about which both these objects rotate with respect to each other, the ground and this body too. So depending on the context, we have to actually talk about how many bodies are there in the system and what are the connections or connecting status between them. So that's how, and then that plays actually a major role while analyzing the problems of equilibrium when multiple bodies are connected. And from there the concept of free body diagram will come, so that we will have to detach bodies from the assembly and we will have to show them separately, and which we will call them free bodies, and we will show on them separate bodies what are the forces which are coming from other bodies which it was connected to earlier. For example, in this case, if I have to draw, I'll draw a free body something like this maybe. So this is that B1, and maybe I'll tell that a force like this comes from that segment, a force like this comes from that segment, or whatever. Okay, I am not getting into the details of whether these are possible or not possible. I am just saying that you will have to show some forces, means say this is from B2 and this force is from the ground. So that is and there are no other connection to that body, so by default we will show this as a whole system, and this boils down to the cases which we had discussed in just the previous segment, where this was a single body under the influence of many forces, and then we will try to means investigate it depending on the situation, which forces are known, which are not known, can they be evaluated by using the equations of equilibrium, and similarly then once they are evaluated we will go to the next body or its free body diagram, which can be solved again like this. So that's how the process will be carried out for all the bodies, and then we will have a clear picture about the full system. So that's the whole story. But then we will make small segments now. One will be, in any such problem, the major difficulty students face is understanding these contacts, means the connections between the bodies, because there will be many kinds of contacts, and then to draw the free body of such systems you will need to understand how a particular connection behaves. So that's how then you will be able to draw the free body. Unless until you understand the connection properties, you won't be able to draw a free body properly. So that is why we will first after this segment we will discuss about different types of connections, and then using those connection properties how to draw free bodies. So that is one of the major topics which we will discuss in the next segment. Yeah. So see you in the next segment.